Good morning. Good morning, beautiful beings. It has been some of the most intense, energetic weeks we've experienced this year and maybe even in decades. I'm just going to take a stretch out there and say maybe ever in our lifetimes or our generations. Not just because of solar flares themselves, um, because they were huge, right? Because of what's riding on those flares, right? What's in those flares and how it hits our bodies and our fields and our awareness and how we're responding, right? So, the title for today, right, is What the Heck is Going On? These X class flares are changing us, changing you. So we're not the same humans, right? That were handling the C class nudges, the X class flares of the past. What we thought in 25, 24, 23 was sort of building up. We're not the same people. We're different because the light is different now. And I want to talk about that today. The light is very different. So take a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me. Drop into your core. I like to sort of settle into my sit bones and get them all, make sure I'm in the chair, right? And let your system know that you're safe, that we're all safe, that we're awake, and that we're going to make sense of what is happening. Okay. So let's start with the solar flares and what's going on. So since November 4th, we've had 6 X class solar flares. We had 5 of them really quickly. Then we had a few days space, and then we just had, well, in addition to the 5 in its space, we also had a lot of M classes that kind of like rumbled all the way up tower into these X classes, right? And then on the 14th, on Friday, we had an X4.1. And the reason I want to single that one out is it was a long duration. It lasted 3 hours. Pam Youngins took us through that, right? And then what we had, and I've got my camera all set up to show you, is that we had this geomagnetic storm. Now, this is the normal that we usually have, which is this green, sometimes yellow. But going up into that red, we had 2 days of G2, G3 geomagnetic storms, which took the KP index up to KP7, KP8, up to the max, right? And it wasn't subtle energy. It wasn't subtle energy at all. These flares didn't erupt, they arrived. They purposely, rhythmically, almost musically came in this timing, and we could feel it. And this matters because only 10 days before all of these flares started, 3i Atlas passes behind the sun, right? In its perihelion, right? It interacted in the solar field in its closest possible range. So I've done a video 2 weeks ago where we talked about 3i Atlas and what was going on with the sun. So think of 3i Atlas as a cosmic amplifier, right? A plasmic conductor, a frequency modifier. When we really think of it that way, it's like, oh, whoa. So when these flares come in, they're carrying something that's been cosmically amplified, an enormous amount of plasma, and a frequency modifier. So what we've been feeling all week isn't random blasts. They're coded transmissions, accelerating waves intended to speed up our physical upgrades, our intuitive intelligence, our clarity, our emotional purging, and our spiritual capacity. You feeling it? I am. Man, especially that emotional purging, especially because we're in Scorpio, and we're going to talk about that. So, yeah, your body knows and your field knows that something bizarre is going on. Your subconscious knows and your symptoms know. So this has been that week where I've been answering the phone or getting texts or having people pull me aside at the coffee shop or in the grocery store and say, "Oh my God, what is happening to me? What's going on out there? You know the solar stuff. You know the planets. Translate this for me." And then the other one is, "Why can't I function right now? Like I can't even put things together. I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing." And I thought Alexander Quinn put it really beautiful that some won't feel this at all, right? Some of you're like, yeah, normal. I feel really accelerated, sort of happy, easy. And then others will feel like it's a tidal wave. Everyone receives their upgrades in their own timing. That's the most important thing to know is we all receive these upgrades in our own timing. And this week is our tidal wave for each of us. Kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. So, what these energies are actually doing, I think it was Saturday, yesterday, Blossom Goodchild put out her channeling from the Federation of Light. And I just love her. She's gentle, she's kind, she's wonderful. And she has this dialogue where she channels and then she does her own voice. And then she has Joe Penna do the voice of the Federation of Light. If you haven't listened to her, by all means, go find it. It's wonderful. She said these flares are what channeled through was these flares are the beginning of a beginning. And I love that. Like the beginning of a beginning. I could feel it. Something's very different about this. And I really like how it feels for me. These are magnetic upgrades, right? That raise the vibration of every living thing, every sentient being on the planet. And these physical symptoms are effects, not symptoms, effects. What we're seeing is the ramifications, the effects of these flares. That distinction is everything. These aren't symptoms, meaning that there's something wrong. These are signatures of recalibration. And Greg Braden did it probably best. And he said, we are bathed in a field of intellect energy that responds to our heart-based feelings and our beliefs. This means that the intensity is not random, it's not accidental, it's really not even chaotic. It's interactive. We're being interacted with energetically, and we are part of this. Our body's responding to the cosmic intelligence. Our cells are communicating with solar plasma, and our field is reorganizing. And you can feel the reorganizing taking place. This is not new age fantasy. This is biophysics. This is consciousness. This is plasma intelligence. And this is the galactic mechanics all converging on us at once. Right? Does it make sense? So, on top of that, there was one thing that I forgot to put in here, which was that in Blossom's channel, she talked about the planets. And the planets are playing their role in this as well. The planets have a responsibility. They are playing their role very diligently. So what we talked about last week were these being in Scorpio, the water trine, and what's going on with Neptune and Saturn. So let me just sort of weave this in and show you how the planets are connecting to all of this, because we are deep in Scorpio season, right? We're in the middle of it. We don't transition out till the 22nd, 23rd, depending on where you are, right? And we're in this massive, deep water trine. We talked about this, which is Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, Mars, Mercury, and Sun in Scorpio, and Jupiter in Cancer, all of them in retrograde. That's probably the most important thing. So this is water on water on water. And our emotion is our intuitive memory. And emotion is energy in motion. So our energy is intuitive and it's hitting our memory. It's hitting our individual psyche and our collective psyche all at once, because water moves in waves. It moves in pulses. It moves in vibrations. And you may be feeling all of these at once. Something like old memories resurfacing, which is dreams that feel like you're living in the past, or like, I haven't thought about that person in years. How did that person come into my field of awareness all of a sudden, right? Ancestral trauma bubbling up, remembering things like, I never really thought that if my dad was like this, what his mom and dad's life must have been like. And so I'm in these places where I'm putting the puzzles together and going, oh, this is so interesting. There are times when there's sudden tears, and you know this, sudden anger, sudden clarity. It's almost like you're flipping between moments of being super emotionally activated. Sometimes it sparks out into sadness or tears, and then other times it's like, hey, I got this. I know what this feels like. This is okay. Then there's also that emotional numbness that sort of happens 1 minute at a time. Like I had all these projects I wanted to do with my house, and I got one done and went and ran some errands and sort of dumped everything off at the local thrift store or Optimus, and then came back and it was like time to go back out and do this other thing. And I was like, no, just sit down, just recalibrate right now. I thought, okay, sure, I will do that. So this is not us falling apart, right? This is us releasing parts of us that we cannot go forward with. So Neptune re-entering Pisces, and it's now at that anoretic 29 degrees, right? Is still dissolving those last things like a baptism, like a pouring off of you. And Fida Fidel said, some truths can only be known after you stop needing them to make sense. Some selves must die so signal can remember that it's sovereign. So with some of these old selves, some of these old memories, some of these things that we clutch to. And when we were talking on Patreon this week, I made it very clear anything that happened yesterday or before is in the past and it doesn't exist anymore. And that was a really hard concept for some of us to grasp, which is it doesn't exist anymore. Stop going back and retrieving it. Let it go, right? So here's where I'm going to drop us into the next deeper level. And you know me, I'm going to go do deep because I'm a double Pisces and I'm in Scorpio and I'm in my, like, I'm thriving in all of this, as you can tell, right? So we're not dealing with just solar intensity. We're dealing with the collapse of mental conditioning that has shaped you since your childhood. So when I say mental conditioning, I want you to think about these words that Pamela Eakins lists as the four veils, in the four veils within the element of air, within the suit of mental, how we put our constructs together, how we develop our intelligence that navigates here on this earth. In that our mind is the easiest to program. Our heart is almost impossible to program. Our field is impossible to program as long as our mind is free. So let's look at Pamela Eakins' seven veils and the mental element, right? So there's imprinting when you start to get things from parents in schools, right? There's parroting. I know how to repeat back so that people smile. There's social conditioning that happens in schools with teachers, with parents, which is when I do this, then that happens. There's the clever show, which is, wow, if I have a quick-witted retort, just watch what happens over here, right? You get to be clever. You get to make people smile and laugh. There's the ego reification, which is like, man, when I say that, then I get back that I'm smart, that I know what I'm doing. And our ego gets fed, right? There's the spinning intellect, which is I'm trying to grab as many pieces as I possibly can to make sure that you know that I'm intelligent. And then there's the master confusion, which is I've been listening to way too many sources and I don't even know what I think anymore. I'm just confused and it's overwhelmed and things start spinning, right? So these veils, all of them are dissolving now. All of these things we've been using to navigate in a world that rewarded this kind of mental acuity. Makes sense, right? So it means that your mind's going to be foggy. And it means that your thoughts are going to skip or collapse. I can't remember what I was supposed to do. And I've heard people say, I think my memory's going. And with all of this fear that we've had of Alzheimer's and dementia, when our thoughts start to crumble away, there's a part of us that, especially if you're 50, 60, 70, you're like, oh no. And then you have to realize, no, it's collapsing. My ability to hold on to these details that no longer serve me, they're falling away. Our memories can feel scrambled and our ability to be productive, good for us, maybe breaking down. So this isn't regression, this is liberation. We are no longer marching around being good little people who do what we're supposed to do on time. We have a strong work ethic. We remember all the details and we don't make it anyone up the ladder we cover for everybody up the ladder is what I'd say, right? So what we're doing is we're watching our mental scaffolding falling apart. All of those things that we've done to hold our head together so that our intuition, our claircognizance, and our inner knowing can rise to the forefront. We're bringing our clairs forward, which is part of what this plasma upgrade is. The sun is stripping away the programming that you inherited, you obeyed, and you survived, right? But you're not losing clarity, you're rewriting the definition of it. So if we do anything, let's keep that. We're not losing our clarity, we are rewriting the definition of it. So some of these flares have been making us feel very different, right? This week, we're going back to some of the same symptoms, but there's also some new things that are coming in. So let's go through that list. So we have the ringing in the ears. I can almost tell you when there's a change in the solar flares based on the tones that I'm hearing in my ears. It's almost like I can hear the tonal changes. Or if you're reading Sarah J. Maas, my Fae skills are starting to show up with the ear ringing. There's dizziness. There's buzzing in the limbs, like either they're pulled up and they feel asleep, or they're just buzzing. There's nausea. There's heart flutters. There's this emotional flooding, like and then that just came in. There's sleep fragmentation. I've gotten very used to having 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night that I wake up. So I've learned to go to bed early. I've learned to get up early and just pace myself and be very kind. There's sudden exhaustion. There's intense dreams. Our clairs and our sensory skills are being updated. We are rejecting timelines. So what's happening is like, I'm not going to go do that. I'm going to switch and do this instead. Or we're recognizing when we are jumping timelines. And there's this deep desire to be quiet. And this is an illness. This is cellular ignition. This is magnetic rewiring. This is our emotions purging. This is solar coding coming in. Timeline recalibration. Identity dissolution. And spiritual acceleration. So you're feeling these things faster because your field is clearer. You're noticing distortion sooner because your soul is louder. You're rejecting timelines instantly because your intuition is now online. This is evolution. This is where we are right now. So it's kind of an exciting period of time. And as the Federation of Light mentioned through Blossom Goodchild, this is just the beginning of the beginning, right? We have wonderful things lying ahead of us. So go to that optimism, go to that excitement, that enthusiasm for the future. So before I have 6 tips for you, and before I go to those 6 tips, what I want to do is again invite you to Patreon, because in my Patreon, it's free to anyone who wants to come join, and we post all of these articles that we're reading. Everything I've mentioned here is now posted over in Patreon by some of the members or myself. Sometimes I find them, sometimes someone else puts them on there. It's wonderful. And then for $11 a month, you can be part of our discussion group, which has gotten really fun. And there's about 6 or 7 of us right now. And it's a nice workable number, and there's room for a couple more. So if you feel called to come join that, we would love to have you there. And all of the links are down below. And I've got a journal prompt that I'm going to give you at the end. And I'm also going to, it's down in the description, and I'll post it up in the comments. And I'm noticing that the comments are really fun because you are all talking with each other in this video in the comment section. So it's beautiful. Thank you. All right. So 6 tips for you. Number 1, treat your symptoms as signals, not problems. They're not problems. It's just sort of like, oh, and then that happened. Oh, I see what this is. What's helping me release right now? How do I shift from being afraid of what's happening to curious? Like, ooh, and then it did that. Ooh, and then it did that. So, when we lean forward and we go, I wonder what's going to happen next, then we're not in fear. And I think that's our greatest skill set is to find out how to remove fear from our body. Right? Number 2, lighten the mental load. Your mind can't lead right now. Hello. Well, for 2 reasons. Because of all these flares, and the second thing is that this flippin' holiday season from October 31st until January 1st has everybody in family gathering, stress, travel plans, meal plans, or work plans, or hurt feelings within family systems. So, this whole mental load, you just got to let it go. Your intuition is your must right now. So let the seven veils fall. Don't force any structure. Let clarity return on its own. You've got to give yourself time and space, especially in this winter months, especially during these holidays, to return to your own clarity, not what your family expects you to do. Be very clear on that. Number 3, hydrate again like it's your job. This is your main job. Water is what is it? Conductivity, right? All the plasma, all the codes, everything is held within our water. So solar plasma dehydrates the system. And so we need to keep it fluid. So we need to drink more, rest more, and flush more. So get those electrolytes, get those minerals, get the water, structured water, do your own structured water, but hydrate like it's your job. Number 4, let emotional waves move without attaching meaning. Let the emotional waves move through you without attaching meaning. Because the water trine is emotional purging, and we're going to allow it. It's kind of like, oh, I remember that when I was married. Yep, there it goes. Oh, I remember, and you just let it go. It's like you just. I'm a lifelong body surfer. There are waves that you want to catch and try, and if you fail, you fail. And then there are times where they're just big swells, and you go, yeah, let that one go by. I don't want that. So let it move through you like water, right? Number 5, trust your body when it rejects a timeline. When it says, yeah, no, I'm not doing that for Thanksgiving this year. Nope, never going to do that. Not this year. So if you suddenly don't want to go or something feels off or wrong, honor it. Your field sees more than your mind. Your mind is going to go like, well, expectations, parents, children, extended family, workload, commitment, la, 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 la. And your field sees much more than that. Trust your field, right? And number 6, always is practice compassion, which is the true stabilizer. Compassion for your body, compassion for others who are overwhelmed, compassion for the old versions of yourself dissolving, right? Compassion for coherence, mastery, and sovereignty in motion. So now let's just take a breath and let this land. You are not breaking. You are not behind. You are not falling out of the functionality that you used to use to perform. You're being upgraded, recalibrated, and rewritten from the inside out. This is what it feels like when the old self dissolves and the soul steps forward. You are not at the mercy of these energies. You are writing them, integrating them, and using them exactly as intended. Shelley Young on Facebook offered this, and I will expand it. Here's a mantra that we can say. I wisely partner with these energies. I ride these waves with gratitude, discernment, and wonder. I rise because I was built for this. So you're becoming a new human, and the solar flares are just simply revealing it, right? So enjoy it. Come see us at Patreon on Tuesday, or I'll see you next Sunday. You take care. Bye.